It doesn't fit in my budget. So he wrote it, tills my garden and gets it all prepped for me and does all of that stuff, and I take him over all the eggs they can eat. And so it just kind of, it's a trade. And we do that kind of stuff really throughout our whole community.
See, now you're under their radar. Oh, my God, you're not spending their Federal Reserve notes. Don't you love it?
Tell how you can really throw them off, Anita.
Oh,
what,
yes.
What do you have to do to really put a wrench into their system?
Oh, I'm so glad you remembered to ask me that. Yes. When I was researching globalization, I ran across watched a lot of videos, hours of videos. And I came across this documentary called The Trap, okay? This was done by a BBC guy, and if you get a chance to see it free online, it's just amazing. You're going to learn all kinds of things you didn't know. And he talked about the game theory and where that came from. It came from the military. People saw that movie War Games, like probably you remember that, where they set up these scenarios in these computers. If person A does person this, then we'll respond with that. It's a game theory, okay? But the whole concept of the game theory is based on a premise that people will always act in their own self-interests. Therefore, as long as you got a society that is designed to be selfish, that will always act and choose based on their own self-interest, you can predict what that society is going to do based on computer models, right? Because you're creating a selfish society, so we know if we do this, the society will respond like that. Well, when the gentleman finished this, they brought in the documentary, they brought in some behavior scientists, and these guys did a study, and they said, no, we're sorry to tell you this, but the only two groups that always behave in their own self-interests are A, psychopaths, and B, economists. So that leaves the rest of us out there, right? So Rand Company came along, and if you research, a gentleman wrote a book about this, what Rand Company was all about and how they've affected our culture. Let's see, what is the gentleman's name? Alex Abella. He wrote the book. He was on Alex Jones. And if you want to Google, Insider reveals diabolical secrets of the Rand Corporation. Well, then you see where they got this information and how they chose to use it. And he admitted in his book and in his article that the one thing they don't want is patriotism, two things, patriotism and altruism. And why is that? Because random acts of kindness, unselfish acts, their computers can't predict. We're random people, you and I. You know, you could look at what Deatra's doing. Nowhere in their computer would they have been able to predict that this particular year a woman by the name of Deatra Loomer would have a chicken and give away eggs. So the more random acts of kindness we do, the more they lose control of society, because we're not robots, but their computers are trying to categorize us as robots, and they're trying to predict our behavior like we're robots, and we all know we're not. So every random act of kindness you do helps put sticks in the spokes of their machine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Go into. We were talking about when you are kind, it is something that resonates in your energy field, in your auric, and people can stand right next to you, and you don't have to say a word, and it picks up, their energy field picks up on yours, and then they start acting kinder because you've got it in your energy and you've contaminated them with this virus, and it's something that can spread. And then you were talking about unity consciousness. What happens?
Well, it certainly does spread. I mean, I think if we think about it at all, we can think about how we can be having a bad day, and someone does a kind act to us, opens a door, picks something up, gives us a smile. It absolutely is contagious. At least it's been my experience in life. But I wonder, are you talking about collective wisdom?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I like about the wiki site is it gives us a chance at collective wisdom. Just like you guys, if you're listening to us talk, you're listening to wisdom go from Deatra to a whole bunch of people, and I got some of it, and I got some new ideas, and we're all three talking, and we're sharing ideas, and we're actually finding solutions and ideas collectively that we probably wouldn't necessarily find as easily, maybe not at all, on our own. So earlier I was talking about collective wisdom, and at one time in my life when my mother died, I was just really, things looked just kind of grim in my world, and I thought they were kind of hopeless, and so I believe that what I did is I Googled the word hopelessness or something like that. And I came upon this website. This is a gentleman, his name is Nicholas Gordon, and he writes poetry, and he makes it available for everybody. And I came upon his poem called The Basis of Human Nature. It's not really a poem. It's really just 6 principles. And do you want me to go ahead and read you what they are? They're fairly short.
Go.
Okay. Number 1, the principles of wisdom are not only discernible by reason, but engraved upon the heart. This is because wisdom is part of human nature, which has evolved over millennia and is in all people the same. Number 2, one may ask them, why are we not all wise? The answer is that all are wise to varying degrees, just as all are to varying degrees intelligent, dexterous, creative, curious, and so on. Number 3, wisdom guides our behavior so as to enable the species to survive. It does this in 2 ways. First, since society is the principal means of human survival, wisdom enables us to live with one another in relative peace. Second, since reason and will offer us uniquely the alternative of suicide, wisdom enables us to attain happiness and overcome and survive despair. Number 4, if experience were food, wisdom would be taste, enabling us to distinguish good from bad. And although all are endowed with taste, the education of taste enables one to make subtler distinctions and finer judgments. 5, similarly with wisdom, the principles are inborn, but their application is much enhanced by upbringing, schooling, reading, conversation, the cultivation of good habits, and the emulation of the wise. 6, this is the last one. We are born with a taste for beauty and goodness. Finding them our deepest and most lasting pleasure. This is our gift as human, though because of varying endowment and education, we enjoy this gift to varying degrees. Do you like that? That's Nicholas Gordon.
Yeah, and I think that people forgot that because sometimes we don't even show it in our own homes. I wanted to also ask you about the importance of getting to know your sheriff in this project.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up and reminding me. If people Google federal regionalism, Barefoot's World-Federal Regionalism, you would see that this regional concept has been going on and really got kick-started under Nixon. And the whole goal of federal regionalism is to take our country and set it into regions and have like city-states. And these regions of unelected people would be in charge of services, policies, laws, whatever, you name it. When you restore, and the whole idea was, incidentally, to remove the sovereign state and the sovereign county, because we elect state people to represent state government. We elect a county sheriff. The potential of a county sheriff working for us is very great. Whereas the municipal city police, we don't elect the police chief, right? We don't. Some mayor picks one, and we're just sort of stuck with it. But the idea of the local sheriff is real important that people understand that the local sheriff is is sort of key to our future. We want a sheriff who's a peace officer. We want a sheriff who knows how to keep the peace. We want a sheriff who is not dedicated to fining us and writing tickets on us and using us to generate profit for the sheriff's department. So for people to put on their wiki site, I suggest two categories when you start: the local sheriff and local food. I have up there under local sheriff information about the power of the sheriff and how it was intended to be and how we'd like to see it return. In my state, some people went up to a meeting in the county just north of mine, and they met with that sheriff who was a constitutional sheriff. He was truly in his heart a peace officer. But he told them that currently, with budget constraints, there's a lot of pressure being put on these sheriffs. They would like to see them. The regional plan has them gone, believe it or not. So to know who our sheriff is, to meet him, to give him perhaps Sheriff Mack's book on a constitutional sheriff, and to sit down and talk with him and find out what problems he's having, permits you to understand what politics is in your county, and perhaps you can ask him, here's a radical thought, well, how can a group of people help you? What can we do? How would we do it, Because we want to support the idea of the sheriff and we want to support you. I think that's another good thing about the wiki is it allows you to find who it is and who wants to go talk to the sheriff and who wants to get involved with making sure that that position stays exactly as it should.
Deantra, I'm seeing some really important questions being asked in the chat room, and I was wondering if you might want to bring Drake back on to address some of those.
Do that. Drake, I'm going to open your mic, honey.
Okay.
I'm on a new computer, and I haven't figured out exactly how to enlarge the font yet, so I'm having trouble following the chat room.
Well, if you hit it hard enough, it'll speak English.
Is that it? Okay.
Yes. Some of the things going on in the chat are really funny. They deal with a lot of the things that are happening. I'll make the suggestion that if people don't understand that the great changes that are coming have a combinational effect. Okay, they're not based in what everybody's familiar with. This is another part of this. This is new territory. Our country was taken from us by an act forced on George Washington by the bankers. Needless to say, you can see what kind of a mess is going on from there. The problem is that we the people have lost our capability of being we the people. So, in order to reinitiate that and become we the people again, other than what has been done and some of the things that are going on, what you got to do is to go local. The manner in which you do that is you simply strike up and talk to people around you. It's very simple. It does not necessarily mean that you got to suck it up and go visit the sheriff first thing. It could be, and I'm not telling you don't do that. You can do that if you want. It might be talking to the mayor. It could be talking to everybody you run into when you're waiting in line at the grocery. Talking to somebody while you pump some gas. The varieties are endless, and any way that you could strike a conversation, talk to somebody, find out what they feel about things, and if possible, allow them to be open about what they are looking for. The trick to salesmanship is very simple, and this is a great secret. You talk to another person and find out what it is that they have on their mind in terms of what they would like to see done. And it doesn't matter what that subject goes to. You just simply involve that within what you're trying to sell. In this case, what we're trying to do is come to a meeting of the minds. 9 times out of 10, everybody you talk to has some kind of complaint about the government. Okay? The take on that up here in the woods is simple.